I'm so excited that I get to do this, and I had to work out today just for a few minutes before I head out to the airport. I will be going to Europe in a couple of hours. But the thing is, for some of you guys who know how this journey started, I started off by almost passing out when I wanted to run to catch the bus. And that's when I was like, you know what? I have to do something about this. Here I am now. So that's why I am on this journey. So me here, or if you are watching, make sure you subscribe, you follow me on this journey. This is day 12. I talk about money, about investing, and trading is I am, also working on my well-being. So hello and welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining me on this journey. I think the most exciting thing about this journey is that once I told my mind to say I'm gonna do this, now it's boom, 4 good days that I have been consistently working out. So I'm gonna work out here for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, then I'm gonna then you know go to my audience on Facebook to just kind of like do a quick live, maybe for 10 minutes, because I want to be accountable to myself and also build a community of like-minded people who are in this journey to, you know, I would say, for lack of a better way, to conquer the demons of laziness, as we would call it in Zimbabwe. That anything, it was a very interesting uh, way of realization to say if there's anything, it was a way of kind of like judging from the divinity, right? So, oh, maybe, let's say if you fail in school, because maybe you didn't study, you didn't do the right thing, then it's like, oh, it's because maybe I was being rich, or maybe because of something else. But one thing I learned in Canada, by the way, was that here life is very individualistic in a big way. So if you don't know people, if you don't know friends, it's gonna be hard, even when people know you, like to trust you, to even invite you into their homes, which makes sense, right? Because you really need to know the people that you hang out with. I know as a parent myself, I wouldn't want to just invite a stranger into my home where there's my kid, right? So now, speaking of which, um, we'll be traveling from Vancouver to Calgary, very short flight, then from Calgary to Amsterdam, and then from Amsterdam we'll connect to our destination there in Europe. So that's exciting. And I woke up to this message on my phone that our flight from Calgary won't have Wi-Fi. From Calgary to Amsterdam. I was like, what? What does this mean? Anyway, I've learned that when you're traveling, expect anything. The flight might be cancelled, delayed, or it might go on time. So anything can happen. Most important thing is that we show up at the airport on time, we do our check-in, and we wait for the trip to embark on the trip. Now, I mostly talk about stocks, investing, trading, personal finance stuff. Today, the US market is closed for Thanksgiving, so I didn't even bother to check the market, what's going on, or anything to read. I'm kind of like in the vacation mode activated. But it's been a wild ride, honestly, this year. A lot of people would say, look, it's a bullish market, but we didn't know it was going to continue to go up. And over time, what I've seen about 70% of the time, the US market, where I trade mostly, is always going up, has been going up. Will it continue? No. There's been times when the forward price earnings ratio for the S&P 500 is about 17, when it has corrected. Right now, it's above that. So that's why you see there's the talk of, is this a bubble? Is this an AI bubble? And then on the other hand, I'm looking at things like what NVIDIA is doing. I was listening to Elon Musk, who is the genius, by the way. I think co-founder of Tesla. He was talking about on Joe Rogan show that he thinks AI and what is robotics and AI are the two things that can potentially help resolve the issue of national debt in the US. Because he thinks politicians, it will be difficult for them to cut, to reduce uh, the, the government debt, which I think last time I checked, it was over 37 trillion. So he was arguing that the US defense budget is more than the interest, just the interest that the US um, pays. So for me, for his argument was that AI and robotics are one of the things that if there is efficiency, then that could increase output without worrying about the other savings and the politicians. So to me, that got me thinking to say, okay, if this can be achieved to increase output and the current challenges, interest rate debt, and all this. So probably there is more room for artificial intelligence. Don't quote me on this. For me, when I invest, I look at undervaluation. I don't try to predict the future. Per se, I try to just make money whether it's an up and down market. So I thought that was really interesting. If that is implemented, well, that will be a new theory in economics. Because as far as I know, the Keynesian model for those who did economics is that you have output Y is equal to consumption plus investment plus government expenditure. Then I think that's where you say plus net export. Then you say X minus M or M. It's I did economics undergraduate. That was in 2006, by the way. Make sure you comment, you follow me. So, so if that is the case now, there is now a new, a new model, and of course, Keynes was a famous economist, but it's something that for where I was doing economics undergraduate, graduate work was more of applications. We would just have that in mind. To say, how do you increase your output? Or even how do you increase your personal income? Income is equal to consumption plus that another model. Or we can then add investment and assume that you have a closed economy, you are not trading. You're just producing and you consume what you produce, or you could invest, or you know. Um, so that's the kind of thinking that training that I had. And it was very interesting because now, if you can master those things, basically you can realize if you want to increase wealth, income at the individual level, if you don't have the trust fund, you can either reduce your consumption in the present and increase your investment, or consume some of the money and invest in the remainder. And then in period two, what we used to call the two-gate model, you can reduce your expenses or increase your incomes but at a much greater rate than what you consume, then you might probably have, you know, some more a higher income in the period in the future. So that's the key thing. If you really want to build wealth, you really have to defer some of the things. Oh, 5 years. For me, I'm a big advocate of saying you don't need to squashy to, like constrain yourself in every way. For me, for example, I love traveling. I love traveling. I love to see the world. I'm doing the process, but I have to find ways to increase my income streams. And one way to do that is through creating content, through trading. I do. I'm a finance coach, wealth building coach. I coach people. I invest in small portfolio that from time to time myself, you know, and get some income. And of course, I have another family income source. But so that's something that I like to do. Having one income is is too dangerous. It's too risky. It's too close to zero. If you lose your job, then that's it, right? So having two income streams, I'm not yet monetized on YouTube, on Facebook. The money is still too little, but it's a journey, right? I'm getting into this content creation journey. Um, like yes, I'm happy if I make some money. If I can fund my expenses, because I have to edit my time, to pay my time. At some point, I want to have an editor, an assistant. I've had experience working with people, but what I've noticed is that if you are doing finance content, you really have to understand, you know, what you like, because some of the things that I do, let's say if I have an editor, like I had, they didn't understand what I meant by S&P 500 and all this. So now I have to have some notes to say, okay, this is that. I create documents to say, okay, change this screenshot, put it at this. So it makes sense for me to just to do that. So if you're joining me here, it's gonna be a short workout. Make sure you subscribe, you follow me, you watch other videos from the channel. I talk about investing, personal finance, trading, and I show you things that I'm learning along the way, not just talking, right? If I make money, if I lose money, you know, some people also argue that once we have money, the biggest challenge is to keep it. Very few can keep it. You see, that's why you see people going broke. It's extremely difficult. You see, rich people, they always manage the people. They go to every other now and then, and they say, okay, where are we? How is the money? Are we keeping it? Is it growing? And that's what you want to do. We don't understand this, but I'll tell you one thing before I hang up to go to Facebook Live. It's not complicated as most people think. Maybe I have a background in economics, but I've coached people, right? And the most important thing is to commit yourself to learning one day at a time. If you can spend 1 hour of your week, of your day, to just read a book or see what is happening in the market, good morning. Uh, you'll be amazed by how much you will know at the end of, let's say, um, 2 months. Because if you commit one hour of your time to just learning, okay, what happened to the S&P 500? What happened today? And you learn about some skills that you otherwise use. That's the way that I invest. If I use, oh, I actually forgot my Apple Watch, my Apple Watch. I use my iPhone. Yeah, that's an example. It's not investment that way. And I know how this does. So I then ask myself, is there a company that produces this that is publicly listed? There's Apple as an example. It's not investment advice. Then I look at their financials, what are they doing, what is their track record, who is their leader. That's how I do my investing. I don't just invest in things that I don't even understand. So, so that's it, guys, for a short workout. I have to get ready to go to the airport, but I'm still on course to achieve Operation Restore My Legacy here. So, thank you. Make sure you subscribe, you follow me for more content. I will be sharing with you more insights from Europe. Thank you, guys.